Hello YouTube. Hello YouTube. Time for another speed lab. This time it's my boy Steve. I really like this character. Steve versus Asuka. I can see why this matchup can be pretty harsh. Harsh matchup, you know. Steve likes getting in your face, pressuring a lot, you know, doing a lot of stuff. Asuka just parries and can-cans. And back threes. It's harsh. But if you play it correctly, it's not that harsh. So yeah, first let's talk about Asuka in general. And what to do about her usual moves and where to sidestep her. In general, what Asuka lacks is like a good checking tool in the neutral. Like a jab check. And because of that, because she lacks that, she has moves like this, you know? Like this is her check, basically. Stay away from me, keep out tools. And Asuka in general is very good defensively when it comes to keep out. When people say Asuka is a defensive character, they don't mean Asuka is like just stays still, doesn't do anything and whiff punishes you. That's not what it means. The defensive aspect of Asuka is the keep out aspect. Of stay away from me, don't come close to me. That's the defensive aspect. Because you're always afraid of the back three, you're always afraid of the can-can, you're always afraid of the parry. Or these parries, you know, the good parries. These ones, which are very strong. You're afraid of this power crush, literally after everything, and that's the defensive aspect of Asuka. And she also has a good counter tool, which is also safe, 15 frame knee. Decent tracking tool with this. I think you can pick this up if you're good enough with this. But it's hard, but she does get this guaranteed anyway. So you have to be very careful in the neutral game when approaching Asuka. Because you have to be expecting the Asuka player to panic. Well, maybe not panic, but just throw out some kind of move when you try to dash it. So something like Steve player trying to go in and getting hit by this, when you try to jab or something, it might be a case. So be very careful. Right? That's why baiting stuff like this is very important. But first let's talk about back 3, since I just punished it. Right? For back 3, the best punish Steve gets is Sonic Fang. It's a very good punish, very consistent, works against literally everything. And every time you block it, you can punish it. Even on whiff, you can punish it very consistently. Because as a Steve player, this is your most consistent whiff punisher and the long range punisher. Sonic Fang is your best friend. I really like this move. So back 3 gets punished by this. And no matter what the Asuka player does after, like back 3 into low, like this, you still punish it. Or something back 3 into 2, for example, right? The Asuka player has those options. You still punish those. Long range punish. But if you try something, I don't know, something else like a down forward 1, like this whiffs, even forward 1 plus 2 whiffs, right? If they just do a back 3. That's why Sonic Fang, your best friend. But if you want something more, like a high reward, it only works if they continue this string. Like if you sidestep after back 3, for example, and notice them just doing something, you can get a little bit higher reward as Steve. Maybe even something like this. Holy shit, what just happened? I don't know what happened there. Fucking Asuka. But yeah, Asuka has a lot of good evasion. Down forward 2? I don't think down forward 2 works though. Yeah, it does not. It whiffs. Manual pap up forward 2? Yeah, maybe, but making your life harder, right? But for a little bit bigger reward, you can do that if you notice the Asuka player like doing this. But I still suggest always Sonic Fang. Always. If you block it, or even if you see it on whiff, Sonic Fang most likely would reach it and most likely will punish it. So it's very good. But let's talk about the situation where you're just not doing, when you didn't punish it, and you got hit by this, for example, right? Because it can happen. You can like freeze a little bit after back 3. You won't always punish it. We're humans after all. Let's talk about this situation. So the situation is 2. Like it splits into 2. It's either this if they press a button, or this if they press a button. Or of course they just don't do anything, but just back 3. But let's not discuss that. So the first one is the mid, right? If you don't do anything and the mid comes out, it'll either whiff or it's minus 20 block. So it's a lot of punishment. I think Steve can even launch it. Yeah. With back two. So this move is a lot of minus. Even Steve can launch it with back two. I don't know if he can launch it with anything else, but back two works really well. But that's not the situation we're after, right? We don't care about that situation. Even though it's either... It's good if you stand still or if you sidestep. But this is also steppable. Just be careful of which way you sidestep, because it can track a little bit, I think, to the left. Yeah, just like that. But just be careful when it comes to that in general, because it's side tracking. But you won't see this almost ever. Back 3 into 2, almost ever. The most of the time you'll see back 3 into the low. This one. Of course you can low parry it. If you don't punish this, and you see it coming, you can low parry it. But if you don't punish this, most likely you won't be ready for the low anyway. And either you get hit, or you can step it. Damn, I tried to step it. I step low parry. But yeah, make sure to step the right direction. In general, against Asuka, you do want to step to the right. There's like a few exceptions, but I'll talk about the exceptions later. Okay, let's see the situation after this. So most of the time, the Asuka player will either continue the string with this, which is a high, or another low. So let me tell you something that's very, very important. This right here, the double low, let's imagine you get hit, you block, this is safe. Very, very important. If you block it, this is not punishable. -7. Very, very important. So what do you do against this? You low parry it. Not a lot of people do this, but this is low parryable on hit. And of course you get like decent damage, right? 4-7 damage, that's decent. Low parry combos deal less damage, your max is 40. Oh, I just dealt 47. That was funny. Okay. So yeah, that is low parryable on hit. If you low parry, of course it will also work against the high, because you will be ducking the high. Right? That's a low parry. You low parry it, and you can punish it really hard, or just punish with, I don't know, while staying 1-2. Both can work. You're playing Steve. So that's one of your best options. But if the Asuka player just stops here, remember that it is 0. Like if you get hit by this and they just stop, this is 0. You can of course low parry still and just get back to neutral. But make sure to punish back 3. Sonic Fang is your best friend. This move, I love this move. It's so good. So yeah, it's your best friend. And usually dealing with back 3 is hard against characters who don't have long-range punishment tools, but Steve is one of the characters that does have them. Even though the matchup is hard because there are a lot of variables, because you can't be as button heavy, you can't be as pressure heavy. Even though that's the case, Sonic Fang really is helpful in the matchup. Okay, outside the back 3, the other most common panic option, not panic, but keep out option, or general good panic move, I guess, is Can-Can. But the thing about this is, you have to have it in your habit to hold back literally after everything you do, because I see a lot of people get hit by this on normal hit. Like, it's not counter hit, right? It's not the normal hit launcher. You can just block it if you hold back. But people get hit just like this, because you don't hold back. Like, for example, this, you see that? In this situation, a lot of people get launched, because they don't hold back after their buttons. If you press a button, immediately hold back. There's no reason not to immediately hold back. I have that in my system already. I always hold back through everything I do. Because this can make lows whiff, but it has to be a counter hit for it to be a normal hit launcher. So one of the best ways to not get hit by this, just like that, a normal hit, is to hold back literally everything you do. If you keep that in your habit, like you're doing tab mix-ups, you're trying to mix them up, and doing buttons. Like, don't press this kind of stuff. You guys can see my pad, right? Do I have my pad enabled? Wait. I do not! Fuck, wait. I just remembered. There we go. Bruh. Yeah, don't do this. Like, I'm just pressing down 1, right? Against Asuka, it's very important to do down 1, back hold, down 1, hold back, and stuff like that. Like, always hold back to the left every button you do, because there's a chance they might can, and there's a chance it won't be counter hit, but you'll still get launched if you don't hold back. Very, very important there. Hold back to left everything you do. It's a good strategy in Tekken in general, but against Asuka it's very important because of this move. Other than that, this move's biggest weakness, of course, it's a low. If you do duck it, it's a lot of minus, and even Steve can launch it. Right? But most of the time, it's not worth ducking this. Because it doesn't have much range, and it can be stepped more or less easily. Like if he goes right, even this situation, the high whiffs, and it's still punishable. Although it doesn't show the frames. I think it's minus 14. Minus 14. Nah, 15 doesn't work. But yeah, this shit, that's the pride, it's really good. Against this kind of move. But there are a lot of setups when it comes to this, when it comes to this, and the parry as well. Let's talk about setups a little bit later. But usually you can duck this, you can sidestep it. I think either side should work, I'm not sure. Yep. Damn, why does it show the frames there but not on the right side? Okay, now it shows it. What the fuck? Weird. But yeah, sidestepping can work, although the first hit might track you. But the second one can track you, or sometimes it won't track you. Okay. And in general, when I say to sidestep Asuka to the right... God damn it. It also works for something like down forward to 1. Just has good tracking to the left. So in general, go right against Asuka. Damn, the tracking there. How did I step it the first time? I think it's because of the 1 being a little bit too minus. There we go. It's because of after a jab. It does have a little bit of tracking, but most of the time we'll be able to step to the right. Like if you go to the left, you won't be able to step it at all. But be careful of the second hit. Like if you step this, like that, second hit will always track you. Damn, so hard to step. In that situation. What the fuck? Oh, I think I remembered incorrectly. Yeah, I definitely remembered incorrectly. I was remembering some other stuff. Down forward one step to the left more easier. I was thinking about some other move. But it's the same kind of mind game basically. The other sidestep is to the left. Like that. If you want to sidestep down forward one, even though it has good tracking. It's a sidewalk though, not a sidestep. But just like I mentioned, the two, like this one, this will track you really well. Yeah, down forward to 1. She has a homing launcher. I mean, her homing moves are really good as well. Really, really good. So sidestepping her is a little bit iffy, but I do like sidestepping her to the right most of the time because down forward 1 isn't that big of a threat. Like her down forward 1 ain't that good. It's -3. Has 2 follow-ups. This follow-up, the mid one, this is punishable, -12. And the high, of course, it's a high, it's duckable, you can punish it. Although be careful when you block it, you're only +1. Okay. There are a lot of checks as well for Asuka, like 3. And stuff like that. Which can be really good. And good Asuka players might use this to like hit confirm it, right? If it hits, they'll continue it. But this is also steppable to both sides. This is also one of them. But the most annoying part, I think, is this move. Down back 1. This is also steppable, more or less easily, but this is very annoying because it says high crushing. This is used as the high crush as Asuka players. Like if I do back one here, it won't work. Right? Pure high crush. And it's hit confirmable, more or less. It's not that easy, but more or less confirmable. There we go. Why is it doing that twice? What the fuck? There we go. Yeah, very, very hit confirmable. Be very careful about that, but the follow-up, if they do mess up the hit confirm and you block it, it is a high. So you can duck it. Also be careful about stepping it because it has very good tracking. Both sides. To just catch you. And just this is safe. Minus 9. 14 frame, it's a very, very good move. Just this, as I already mentioned, can be sidestepped both ways. Right? It doesn't have the best of ranges. Sometimes you can backdash it just like that. And then punish it, of course. However Steve can punish it. I like Sonic Fang the best as a whip punisher. But just be careful when it comes to this move. Sometimes you want... What the fuck? Wait. What? Wait. No way. I caught this on camera. Parada? How the fuck? What? It's working now. Now it's okay. Now it's okay. What the fuck happened? What the fuck? Caught red-handed on camera. It's on YouTube now. It's on YouTube now. Caught red-handed. But yeah, be careful about this move. Down back one. Good Asuka players will use it. 100%. They will use it. So I talked about stepping Asuka a lot, right? You can step her most of her moves pretty well, but then her tracking comes into play, which is forward 4-3 and forward 4, the most common ones. I think she can use some other stuff as well, but those are the most common. So first let's talk about forward 4. So forward 4 is a tracking high, 19 frames, right? Knockdown on hit, guaranteed down forward 3. And I think if the Asuka player is good enough or the angle is good enough, you can get a combo with this. There we go. Even I'm good enough. Let's go! I think you pick up with a down back. Let me try it. I'm too good. Fuck. But yeah. It's a very, very good move. It is a high. It's a relatively slow one. It's not that fast. But 19 is decent. And the most important part is its plus on block. So when you block this, be careful about pressing. Because the Asuka player will use these plus frames most of the time. And the most common way they use it is they get a countered launcher with back 4, like this. So this is a very, very common 4 chart. This into back 4. And if you do something like a down forward 1, you will get countered. Very common 4 chart. Like a back 1, it won't work. If you do something fast like 1-1, right, it'll work. You have up to 11 frames here. If you do 12, it will trade just like that. I wonder if Asuka gets a free launch there, like 14. I'm not sure. On the trade. But yeah, be very careful about that. The best way to deal with this is either with the movement option like this, right? But be careful about stepping to the right. This is one of those situations you don't want to step to the right, you have to go to the left. Like this. And I think Steve can sway either direction, I'm not sure. Yeah, Steve's sway is really good. What's my sway launcher? Fuck. Do I have a sway launcher? But as a Steve player, you can sway here, both directions it will work. If there's a wall, of course, you do this, wall bounce. Oh, this on counter it. Can you do this? Wait. Nah, you can't do that. Not fast enough. Oh! That worked. So sway forward 3 into that. But you can also sidestep to the left if you don't want to, you know, go through that trouble with the sways. But sways work like a unique Steve option, right? They do work. But sidestep left also works most of the time. So if you want to, you sidestep left, you can also launch with this. Better than nothing, I guess, right? Alright, orbital works. You can't do anything you want, basically. Nice! That was sick. So be very careful. Try to sidestep that setup and you end up always getting hit. Yeah, if you sidestep right, you will most likely get hit. But the thing is, it also matters how this gets blocked. Like if you block this like this might sometimes still track you. Like that. So it's more consistent to sidewalk it than a sidestep. See that? Sidestep most of the time will get hit. So always sidewalk it. Always, always. It's like these situations as well, it will be way harder to sidestep it. In these like weird angles. Sidewalk left is more or less consistent. At least it works for Steve. But of course, the other frame trap that they might do is a Magic 4. They might do this. They don't do it a lot, but they might do it. So this into Magic 4. So if you do press here, you'll also get Magic 4. I don't know how to combo from that though. I think it's a very hard combo, but it's possible. That was not it. Yeah, it's a hard combo, but it's possible. So yeah, I was talking about this, right? When you go to the left, you also beat this. That's a very, very good option. If you go to the left, you also beat a down forward 1, which I already talked about. Sidewalk left. And if you just sidewalk and stop, something like forward 4 into forward 4, you'll also block. Not to mention if you sidewalk and duck, right? Does everyone have 11 frame Magic 4? Oh, that will change it Tekken 8. But yeah, everyone has it. It's hard to combo from Asuka's at least. Most of the things that Asuka players get is just forward 2. Okay, that's about this setup and this tracking move in general and what to look out for. Of course, Asuka player can also jab like 2-1 or just do 1. But 2-1 also gets stepped. If they try 1-1, your sidewalk left this will catch you like this, but it's not that big a deal. It's whatever. Or they might do 1-3. Before I go to the jab string, which is 1-1 and 1-3, the most common one, which is like a 10 frame mix-up, right, from a jab. Which can be considered dumb, but it's not that bad. First, let's talk about this. So this move. This move is one of those invincible moves in Tekken 7. The move that you just can't beat. It's impossible to beat it. So, the properties. This is a tracking mid. It's not that slow, it's 20 frames. It's decent. Plus 11 on hit. A lot of plus, so you're basically in the mix-up after, even though you're far. It's a wall splat. Like that. So you get wall combo after. Then something like this, I don't know. It's safe on block. And to counter the launcher. And do like decent damage. That's decent damage. I'm pretty sure that's shit combo, but that was decent damage. And it hits very far. 4-4-3 is the input for it. Has a lot of range, and as I said, it's tracking against sidestep it. And as I already said, it's also safe. It's -9. It leaves her close more or less, depending on the range she does it at. Like this will put her a little bit far, while close up it will be closer. But most of the time, it will be blocked like this. Like you won't be able to backdash it. Basically, it's an unbeatable move. The only way to beat it is to press something fast enough before it comes out. But as I said, it's not that slow. But it can be countered. Something like a back one can counter it. Fuck, messed up. that's like the only weakness it has, and usually that's the weakness these things have. So be very careful. You can also crush them jabs. Yeah, it has some kind of crushing in some frames. But it's a little bit iffy to crush with this move. Intentionally anyway, but it can happen. Be very careful. But most of the time it will crush either bad jabs or on specific frames. As you can see, it's pretty consistent to jab. Like that frame right there. There we go. That didn't work. The back one will work. But be careful with jabs. So Steve's back one and most of the moves that are high counter launchers should be able to work there. Get a mix up after block. The thing is, I'm gonna talk about the block situation next. So on block, you have to be a little bit careful here because of the pushback this move can give. A lot of people get tempted to move closer before they press a button, something like this, like move down forward 1, because of that pushback. And be very careful when it comes to that, because if you do that, something like this will hit you. Okay, not that. Something like this, maybe. If I do it correctly. Like any kind of panic option. So be very, very careful, because it has slight pushback. An Asuka player can use that pushback if they want to. Like, they might even do this, right? So be a little bit careful. And Steve doesn't get that big of a mix-up anyway. Because, you know, Steve. You can do, like, some kind of stuff like this. Like a basic mix-up. Oh, I'm too good! Let's go! Okay. I just wanted to do it. I did it. Good stuff. And be very careful when it comes to something like this as well. Right? This can happen. When you try to check with any kind of mid, a parry can happen immediately after. So she has a lot of panic tools when it comes to that. Be careful. That's the block situation, more or less. I don't know if she can do the parries like this after this because she's while standing. Yeah, she can. So yeah, be careful. Parrying to back through. Yeah, that's just another setup. I'm gonna talk about the setups in a little bit later. There are a lot of setups to talk about. First, let's talk about the moves that we have to look out for. Like this, I talked about this one. Well, let's talk about the jab string. So 1-1-3, this is a very, very common jab string that a lot of Asuka players use. And this is basically a mix-up after a jab because there's a high mid and a high low. So after a jab, you're kind of forced to guess more or less. Unless you can react to the slow or fuzzy it, which is very hard. I'm not saying it's not possible, right? You can fuzzy it something like this. Do the damn mid. There we go. If you duck and like stand up in a correct fuzzy, you can block both. It's not that hard if you're ready for it, but most of the time in a real match you won't be able to do this, right? Like right now I'm not getting hit at all by the mid or the low. Okay, I got distracted with the chat. It is possible, but in a real match it won't work. So you kind of have to guess after a jab. And this is usually used as a guess situation when you have 1 HP and you have to guess for your life. Can't you parry? Yes, you can also parry it. This is parryable. Which is better than Which is better than a block. But if you parry it, you're gonna be committed to guessing. Like, there's no fuzzy option anymore. If you try to parry it, this will 100% hit you. Okay. Of course, there are a lot of setups after this as well, but as I said, setups come a little bit later. Oh, I almost forgot one of the best moves Asuka has, that 4-3. Very, very common move. So this move is one of the best mids she has. Very, very good move. So let's talk about the properties. So it's 20 frames, low crushing mid. So this will crush lows. Crush it, damn it. There we go. Will crush lows. It's safe, but not only is it safe, it's only -3. So very, very good. And it can track quite decently in some sort of angle. So it tracks well to the right. You can step to the left more or less. But depending on the angle, it might still track you. But be a little bit careful. Although you can step it most of the time to the left, be careful about stepping it in general. Because as I said, depending on the angle, it can just clip you sometimes. But most of the time, step left works. So this and this can be stepped to the left. Okay. There's also a lot of setups after this as well, but later. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, this move. This move is also really good. Not a lot of Asuka players use it. Good Asuka players will use it, but not a lot of them do. A lot of other ones do. Or even some good ones don't use it enough. So this move, 18 frame mid. It's -4, so it's +4 for you. But the thing is, you're left crouching. So if you do press, the Asuka player is like a perfect position to whiff punish you. Something like this. Perfect position. Messed up the AI there. So the mind game after this is really good. It's only -4. Of course it can be stepped, just like the other moves. It can be stepped to the right, it can also be stepped to the left. That didn't work. Wait, let me try a steep combo. Yeah! There you go. But on block, it's very strong. On hit, you are -9 and full crouch. So something like this into another this will counter hit you on hit. But the most important thing is the counter property. Launches you straight up. Will this work? No, that won't work. Like something like this will combo. I'm not sure if this is the correct combo for max damage, but it's basically a good combo. Maybe something like this will work. I gotta time it. Maybe not. But yeah, it's a combo, so be very, very careful about that. This move, also very good. Sidestep move. Sidestep 2, yeah. So this move is used as a setup a lot as well. But it's a very good move in general. It's a 13 frame mid out of a sidestep. 13, it's very fast. It's basically a down forward 1. Very fast. Normal hit. Knockdown, so normal hits. Wall splat to whatever combo they want, right? Doesn't matter. And it's safe. It's -9. But I think the most important property this move has is its tracking. You cannot step this. I do not believe in stepping this move. It's impossible. See this? Absolutely impossible. I tried step sway, doesn't work. Oh my goodness. The strength of this move, it's tracking. It's just tracking. So it's very, very strong. There are a lot of setups for it as well. Which I'm going to talk about maybe now, I'm not sure if I have anything left. Can time it back on to counter it. It depends on when they use it. You have to know, it's most likely a setup, and you have to know the setup to counter it. Oh, these moves. This and this. Like these two, and this low is mostly a pressure, most of the time a pressure start for Asuka. There's also a full crouch low. I have to talk about the full crouch mix up as well. I almost forgot. So let's talk about that. This is a low, which is 20 frames fast. This is like a hell sweep, guarantees this. If this is scary, the scariest situation this becomes in is at the wall. So something like this. But in the neutral, it's not as scary, because if you have a good backdash, the forward 2 will almost always whiff. Like this. So if you're backdashing a lot, just don't stop backdashing. The forward 2 is not guaranteed in the neutral. And not only that, you'll also get a very good punish on the forward 2 when you get up. So like this, get up with up. Wait. God damn it. Fucked up. Like this. But most of the time, you have to hold up. But most of the time, it's still worth it to hold back, because it will avoid the forward 2 a little bit easier. Like, it will avoid the forward 2 easier if you don't hold up. But if you do hold up, you get more of a chance of punishing this. But you also risk getting hit. So I think it's still better to hold back. I don't think that's a punish though. But if you hold back, you won't be able to punish it anymore. Okay. What else? So if you backdash a lot, it's not that big of a deal. At the wall, you're gonna get mixed, more or less. But the mids aren't that scary unless they start doing this, which is their main mid option at the wall. But even this on block, you just block it and get out of the wall. So not that scary. Even though it's a normal hit wall splat and it's safe. It's pretty strong. So yeah, be careful about this. And in the neutral, you shouldn't be ducking as much, because they will be, you know, mixing it up with this. But if you backdash a lot, this won't be that much of a problem. They're risking their life without a forward 2, basically for 20 damage. So in the neutral, not that much reason to duck Asuka. Unless they spam this. If they spam this, of course, you can duck it. But this move can be stepped to the right and tracks to the left. I think the main reason I step to the right is this move. Because I don't want to get low poked by this. Because Asuka isn't that threatening outside of her panic moves. I just step and be defensive a lot. Even this won't hit me if I sidestep a lot, or maybe I block it sometimes. So the Asuka player kinda has to take a lot of risks. Like come close, try to mix me up by doing this into this, even though I'm backdashing a lot. Stuff like that. Oh, and I almost forgot. Asuka players may do this as well, but the same kind of mind game applies here. The one hit is 0, so if they stop there, it's 0. And if you block the second one, it's safe, just like after back 3. But you can low pair the second one. And you know, do whatever. That move they used to steal their turn. This one maybe? I just remember this as well. Down back 2. This is also one of the setup options they have, which is a high crush, like this into this, for example. Like this is a pure high crush, right? Look at that. Even back 1 doesn't work. And it's only -11. So be a little bit careful about that, but this is usually a setup option. They won't throw this out as a mix-up or anything. Mid-hand at the wall, that looks like Miguel's back forward 1. I don't know. That, oh this is not mid. Sidestep 2. I already talked about sidestep 2. Okay. What else? I should probably talk about this as well. I think it's down back 1, right? Or back 1. Snipe Ulsan. Maybe I will try. If Ulsan's playing right now, maybe I'll try. So this move is also very important. It's very, very slow, but it's also -10. that you can't punish most of the time. Right? Even though it's dick jab punishable, -10, a lot of people do try while saying 1-2 even though it's safe. So the best thing to do is to react to low pair. But if you do block it, dick jab punish can whiff sometimes. Even though it's punishable, most of the time you can punish it. It can also whiff. Be very, very careful. It's a lot of plus. It's +6 if you do get hit by this. Okay, what else? Something like down forward 2, I almost forgot. How did I forget down forward 2? Like, one of the biggest reasons I also step to the right is a down forward 2. Like, this tracks to the left. As you guys can see. This is one of the reasons I talk about sidestep right so much. And I forgot that down forward 1 actually tracks to the right a bit better than normal. It's always better to sidestep right because of these moves. Something like down back 3 and down forward 2. It's already very important. Okay, I think it's time to talk about the setups. Talked about back 3 more or less. Let's talk about the common setups. I'm trying to find the move maybe I didn't talk about. Common one. Pop. That's 14 frame punish. I guess I didn't talk about this, but this is just a string that you have to know about. Like, it's basically the same as just this. Right? Basically the same. There's a snake edge from here as well, I think. Yeah. Just have to know this trick. Let's talk about the setups now, which is very, very important because she has a lot of them. The most common ones, first, let's get out of the wall because there are different setups. From to the wall, I mean when you're near the wall and when you're not to the wall. If you're not near a wall, the most common setups are with something like this into this. This is very, very common, right? So up forward 3, you time to challenge. This shit happens. Very, very common. The way to beat this kind of setup, because everything whiffs, most of the time everything will whiff. Even though my jabs don't work and my back one sometimes works, down forward 1 sometimes works. It depends on which sides Asuka player steps, and it depends on a lot of situations. Most of the time it will whiff. The way to beat this is to either do a tracking move that's like good enough, which Steve doesn't have, because down forward 2 doesn't track anymore. Thank God it doesn't. It will be broken. So you either do a tracking move to do a hard read, this one maybe? Bruh. Doesn't work. But yeah, Steve doesn't have that privilege. Or either you time it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Bro. Why is my back 1 with? Fuck, I hate sidestep too. But yeah, you time your back 1. Oh, you dash in into a back 1. So you have to time it basically. Dash and down forward 2 can also work, I think. Never mind. So this is what you do. Forward into back 1. Sidestep back 1. Sidestep back 1 is easier, but holy shit that works. Like sidestep right back 1 is pretty good. If you sidestep left back 1, this can happen. Wait. God damn it. I made it whiff last time. But yeah, sidestep right back 1 is really good. So a real line and then back 1. Heath, hello. Do I play Xiaoyu? I have Xiaoyu at Emperor. I did play her at Emperor. So a little bit, I guess. But if you count that, I play everyone, so. Except Akuma for now. Today I'm going to get Akuma to Emperor as well. You're doing it on the read, that's pretty bad. But the thing is, the options you're doing on the read isn't that bad because you're sidestepping right anyway. So if they do something like this into this, since you are sidestepping right, do it, damn it. It can whiff. Damn. Yeah, like that. But you have to read it. You have to read it. can't really do a hard punish on it unless you hard read it, because it's that good. It's just that good of a move. But of course, if they see you doing something like that, they might do something like this. But just because I'm saying to sidestep right in the back one, a lot of things can do it. So it's not that bad of an option anyway. Down to semi-tracks. It can, but I think down 2 is too slow. Like this will catch you if you do a down 2. Never mind. It will not. Let's see if it catches the sidestep too. Yep. It does catch that. Let me try other side. Yep. Down 2 is pretty decent here, maybe. Because highs won't counter you and stuff like that. So, it can be decent. I think down 2 is a good option. Be still the OG. Down 2 can be a very good option. It won't give a lot of reward, like a sidestep right back one counter it. But it can be a safer option, unless they, low parry it. Or do a 4-3 into a 4-3. Right? That won't work. This is very common as well. Very, very common. Damn. They're doing viewer match with Ulsan. Oh, damn. Yeah, Monad, you can go play him. You should definitely go play him. I'll play him as well. Let me finish this real quick, and I will. It shouldn't take too long. I'll definitely try to play him. Okay, so that's one of the setups, right? Very, very common. And up forward 2, sidestep 2 can be used after a lot of stuff like this. Into sidestep 2 can also be a thing. But that's usually outside of the wall. Even though it can also do at the wall. Because, it's a wall splat. Other stuff can happen as well. The most common one at the wall, the most common setup is this. So 1-1-3, this setup, very, very common. Something like this, into this, also very common. So basically any kind of button that's not that much minus, like this for example, right? It's -5 with a lot of pushback. They can just do another this. But they get a wall splat into pretty good damage. So be very careful when it comes to this. The way you deal with it, of course 1 is a high, but you usually don't want to duck, it's a risk, is you sidestep. The sidestep block is like the perfect way to deal with this. No, of course launch it if you want to, if you're ready for it. But be careful about sidestepping to the left, because, something like down forward 2 can track you and stuff like that. Be very careful. The best way to deal with it is just sidestep, be patient. So this, into this, into back 3, into neutral, more than at the wall, can be a setup. This into parry, this into this kind of parry. So that's why when it comes to these moves, even like this, and other moves similar, most of the time it's very, very good to stay patient against Asuka. Because they kill themselves. 98% of Asuka players will kill themselves. As long as you stay patient, they will kill themselves. It's just what they do. And if they feel like you're being very, very patient, and they don't know what to do anymore because you're not pressing anything to get trapped by this, they'll start doing this kind of shit. Now, of course, it's very risky because you guess this once and you launch them. Even with Steve, it's launchable. Exactly man say to you. Oh shit. 1% of Asuka. What should you do? Oh, the thing is, if you're way too patient, the Asuka player will actually use those mind game situations to her advantage, right? Very, very good Asuka players will do that. Because when they do something like this, and you're very patient, they will just continue their pressure and mix you up a lot. Like with this, with something like this. which is very strong, right? So they will continue their pressure because they can see that you're respecting it. In those cases, you can still press some buttons for reads because, you know, the Asuka player is not doing anything. I mean, just continuing pressure. But you have to understand that that's happening to you. Be very, very careful when it comes to pressing buttons, and if you do buffer chickens, it's very good. If you have a key charge bind, you can just do a key charge bind chicken. It will literally chicken everything. So it will make your life easier. Even though I don't have one, personally. I just press the corresponding buttons. But yeah, buffering chicken can be very, very useful. So the Asuka player will just do this and just keep pressuring you to infinity. Because you're respecting it so much. But sidestep right is always a good option. Sidestep right block, almost always a very, very good option. Okay. Can you chicken her punch parry, the kick one? No, this is not chickenable. The two parries she got, the new ones, you can't chicken these. This just happened. They are very strong. But as I say, sidestep right block works against all kinds of setups like that. It's very, very good. And this tracks to the left. So go right, don't go left. Oh damn. Okay. Which character left for Emperor? Akuma. Akuma is left. I left 2 Ds for last. And I left Akuma for last. Like, last. Okay, what else? I talked about the setups, like this into Power Crush is a setup. This into Power Crush is also a setup. Oh, I forgot. The parry setups. Like, all those, you can also parry, right? But let's talk about how to deal with the parry. This parry right here. I have a very simple rule when it comes to dealing with Asuka parry. Very, very simple one. Never punish this, but always punish this. So, by that, I mean that when you see a parry, do not instantly react to it. Do not react to this. The way you punish Asuka's parry is you wait for the long one. And then you do literally whatever the hell you want, right? This is all a punish. Because this is a bait. You have to treat this as a bait. What a lot of Asuka players like to do is do this into this. Let's say you want to punish it. Oh damn. You just got countered. You see that? So it's very risky. Be very, very careful when it comes to doing something like that. Or to have an elbow. If you have a fast elbow, it may work, but you're still risking something like that. Like something like Brian's down for 2, for example. Fast elbow. It can work. But it's not worth it. Pab down 4-2. Yeah, no, don't. That's way too slow. 16 frames fast. You have to go into Pab as well. Way too slow. Not to mention, if you see a long parry, you don't need to do this. Why would you do this? Just wait for it. Understand the timing on the long parry and always punish it. As hard as possible. Just wait for it. Do the orbital if you want to launch, or this if you want a wall splat, you know. The good stuff. Learn the timing on the long parry because it's always the same. They can't cancel this. They can't cancel this early or late or anything like that. It's always the same. And when it comes to just this, be careful because there's a lot of setups like this into can. Or just like Beastal just said, this into back 3. And you're trying to get close. You just got back 3. Try to punish it. And always does long version too. The thing is, some Asuka players may do the long version, not on purpose. Because if they hold it for a little bit longer than normal, they will get the long version. They literally have to tap it, like this. If they hold it, they will get the long one. So yeah. Against Asuka, unless the Asuka player is like doing this very technically, just like tapping it every time, like this, you will see an Asuka player do the long version sooner or later. But if they do spam this, just get ready for a keep out option like this. So if you do something like this, dash in, go back, or dash in, sidestep, you'll most likely bait something out, and then punish it. Yeah, at the wall, as I already said, the panic option changes with this most of the time, because they can do this into this. So just be careful about this. As long as you know it's coming, you'll be able to deal with it. Since you know it's a setup, you'll deal with it better. Okay. What else? So those are pretty common setups. Oh, it's also pretty important to know, not that important, but pretty useful, that Asuka's wall running 3 is 0 on block. So you can mash after this. Asuka's used it as a plus rate move. I don't think even some of them know that it's 0. But it's 0. You can mash after that. Very, very freely. 1-2-1, you'll get a counter hit most of the time. Back 1 may work as well. Okay. What else? Talked about Can. Oh, these moves. Yeah. This and this. Especially this one. This is also a setup starter. So they might use this at the wall, patch you, ducking, and of course they're gonna get a good damage off of this. They might use this in the neutral as well, but usually at the wall. But this is also a setup, because when you block this, this is very common. As I always say, sidestep right block. Pretty good option. You'll see the whip, you punish it. But if they continue pressure, you're just gonna get pressured, and Asuka player will take more risks, but you're also gonna get more annoyed. The +8 grab. Oh yeah. What's the input? I forgot. I forgot the input. There we go. Down back 1+2. So this grab, where she pulls you close, it is -8, and this basically gives her a very free mix-up. Something like this is basically free. But as I said, a backdash can work wonders here. If you backdash correctly, something like this into this may also whip. See that? So, there's also no reason to duck here. At the wall, it's scary, but if you just backdash, that's it. The Asuka player is literally taking a risk for 20 damage. So backdash, hold back. Most of the time, it can whiff if you do it correctly. I'll punish though, yeah. I tried to hold up. That's why I say don't hold up, because the chance of you getting hit is higher. Hold back will most likely make it whiff. Then Korean backdash. Just backdash once. Don't Korean backdash. If you Korean backdash, you're gonna get hit by this. And you're gonna complain about your backdash. You being backdashing. Oh, I'm just backdashing. Why did I get hit? Held down back. That's why you got hit. So yeah, this into this is the mid mix-up. So if you do Korean, oh, I just backdashed, bro. The back, down, back, and you got hit. So just backdash. This will get blocked. But if you Korean backdash, you risk, you know, getting hit by this. So be very careful. How would I make that whip? Wait. How would I make that whip as backdash? That was weird. Whatever. Yeah, the thing is you won't be able to sidestep this either. So sidestepping is not a good idea. Just backdash. You'll avoid the mid, and this won't get the follow-up. It's only 20 damage. And if they do like to spam this, maybe try to guess once, and you get a lot of launch. She wanted a hug. Of course, she just wants a hug. Yeah, pressing buttons ain't really an option here, because you're literally that close. And -8. Be very careful. What else? Yeah, I talked about this, which is important. This is a string, you just have to know this. You sidestep this as well, sidestep right. Works really well. This is a full crouch 3+4 and it looks very similar to 3+4. But these are different moves. Very, very similar. But this is much better, as you guys can see. Oh, and about this string, it's very important to know that she has the option to either stay while standing, like that, not while standing, crouching, or stay standing. So when you block this, the Asuka player has the option to either do a full crouch move, something like this maybe. You respect it too much. So let's imagine this situation. You sidestep right, because you're expecting a power crush. They go full crouch, and mix you up with a full crouch mix-up. So be careful about that. Oh, let's talk about full crouch mix-up, I almost forgot. And then I'll go to rage drive situation, and that's gonna be it. So Asuka's full crouch mix-up is actually really pretty decent. But this move is 0. Like that. But what you have to be very careful about is using jabs to check her here. If you use a dick jab, it can be a little bit better. Like down back 1 is Steve, right? Can be a bit better. But if you use jabs, most likely you'll get countered because of the high crushing. And the main mid mix-up she uses is this safe wall bounce, down forward 3. If you do jabs here, you'll of course beat it. There are some jabs that whiff though, I think. But I think Steve's jabs are good. So yeah, be careful about ducking at the wall because the mix-up is safe, it's mid, and wall bounces. Does pretty good damage. And of course, low parrying this is better than just blocking it. This is only -11. But it's Steve. Steve actually has a very good 11 frame Punisher, so it's not as bad. Okay. What else? That's normally the full crouch mix. Oh, this move is also very important. Damn. Yeah, I gotta talk about that. So this move is a very, very, very good move. So this on counter hit gives Asuka guaranteed 4-2. This is guaranteed. No execution required, just guaranteed. So very, very strong move, and it's only -3. It's full crouch forward 1+2. It's -2, my bad. And this also is the setup for back 3, this, can, power crush, all those stuff. It can also be a setup for all that. So when you block that, be very careful. Something like Magic 4 can come out. This has very decent tracking, especially at long range. And it's not that slow. 21 frames is not that slow. It's a bonkers move. And as I said, it's pretty hard to sidestep, but it is possible. But in this kind of ranges, very, very hard. A little bit easier on the left and to the right. But since I told you to step to the right most of the time, you know, it's really good for Asuka. But you can change your steps up, of course, depending on what they like to use. So be very careful. And if you do get countered by it, it does a shit ton of damage. One more thing I should mention as well, this move, on counter hit, I did say it's really good, but I didn't mention how good. Like, this is all guaranteed, right? Very easy mode combo, mini combo, 6-2 damage. But if the Asuka player is even a little bit good, or has practiced this, they can just do a down forward 2 after this. That's guaranteed. I did it correctly that time. I messed up the first time, but this time I did correctly. Like, it's not that hard. I haven't practiced it at all, but I can still do it. And there we go. That's guaranteed as well. That just says a lot by how easy it is. Okay. So be careful about that. That's very big damage as well. Now let's talk about the rage situation. So in rage, of course, rage arts become one of the panic options. I'm not going to talk about that. That's in general what happens in rage. But let's talk about this right here. So this move is very, very strong. It usually comes out after some kind of combos when you want to stay down, like automatically. So they do this, which will hit you grounded, and then, you know, a lot of damage from that. So be very careful when Asuka is enraged, but because she also does a lot of combo damage. So something like this maybe. Right? 85 damage. For no reason. She does a lot of damage. Be very careful when Asuka is enraged. Of course her panic options and everything is also very strong. But that combo damage is actually insane. This also becomes a mix-up. It's like a mid-mix-up to something like this. So they may use it like that. And most importantly, when you do block it, when you block this, you are -10, full crouch. So be very careful about Asuka's options. Something like this, it's a pure mix-up. You won't be able to power crush this, rage art it, nothing. This can also be a mix-up in that situation, although you can rage art it, I think, but still. It's a scary situation. Most of the time, you do want to just hold it and guess whatever the Asuka player does. And a single backdash is your best friend, because if you do get hit by down 1+2, as I always say, they won't get the forward 2, because you backdash once. Steve can't rage art it? Can't? Oh yeah. Steve can't, it's a high, so it will whiff. Steve cannot rage art it. In general, you can though. But Steve cannot do it. High rage arts don't work because Asuka's high crushing. Okay. Oh, and I almost forgot. The rage drive can be stepped to the right. Can also be stepped to the left. Like that. But it has side tracking. So be careful about. Okay. What else? Oh, I forgot this, and that's gonna be it. I talked about back 4 after this. Just back 4 is used a lot, but the Asuka player can just use back 4 too, I think, as well. And that's a 3-hit string. So back 4 by itself is safe. -7 with pushback. Be careful about this because Asuka players, you know, they can parry, do all the shenanigans Asuka players do. But be careful about this. When they continue this is -12. You can punish this. 12 frames, you can punish it. But then there's a punish mind game with this one. So if you try to punish the second, this will hit you. But the last one is -16. So Steve can get... Normally you could launch it, but Steve can get this. Or if you have rage, you can rage drive it. Okay. I think that's it, more or less. Yeah. That's gonna be it. YouTube, big thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next vid. Till later.